Hey everyone, my name is Sanvi and I'm a junior at Stevenson High School. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe during this time. This presentation is the 7th part of an online community initiative designed to introduce STEM and medicine to students who might not have had the opportunity to explore these careers. And today we're going to talk a little bit about environmental and civil engineering. So environmental engineering basically involves designing ways to protect people from adverse environmental effects, and these can include things like air pollution, water pollution, climate change, or even natural disasters. And some of the more specific ways that environmental engineers would go about doing this would be to improve recycling, waste disposal, and public health measures, as well as pollution control. So civil engineering is a pretty broad discipline of engineering, and it involves the design, construction, and maintenance of the built environment. So this can include public works like roads, bridges, canals, dams, airports, things like that. So there are a lot of different careers in environmental engineering, and the first one that we have is air pollution control engineer. And an air pollution control engineer would basically design and develop and innovate on different processes and products which would control air pollution. And this could involve both like figuring out how factories can mitigate how much air pollution they cause and figuring out how to protect humans from air pollution. Next, we have a water treatment plant engineer, and kind of similar, they would engineer and design processes and products which would help treat water and make it more clean for us to drink and be able to drink safely. So this would be a really big application, especially in third world countries where they aren't able to have as much access to clean water, and it would be really important to have proper water treatment plants over there. Next, we have a waste management engineer, and they would design and develop processes or products to how to better manage waste and have better sanitation in our lives. And again, this is really prevalent in third world countries where they they need more of these things to really help them increase their quality of life. Next, we have hazardous substance engineer, and they would design and develop products and processes which would help contain and handle hazardous substances more safely for the general public and for experts that are dealing with these substances. So in civil engineering, there are also a lot of different careers, and the first one we have is architect. So an architect is responsible for designing things like buildings, and this can include really anything from like a skyscraper to a house to just like a regular office building. Next, we have a geotechnical engineer, and they would design products and processes to acquire and analyze materials from the Earth's crust. And the main application of this is that they could assess whether there are any risks or any specific measures that people should take before living or building on that specific plot of land. Next, we have a structural engineer who would design structures like bridges, buildings, and tunnels, things like that. And then we have a transportation engineer, which would design highways, railways, bus systems, and even airports, or really anything that's involved in transportation. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how you guys can explore environmental and civil engineering. So the first one we have is to volunteer with environmental organizations, and I think that this volunteer work and community service can really help put into perspective what you want to do and figure out really whether this field would be right for you, if whether it's something you want to continue doing. Next, I have look for opportunities with local companies, and I think that this can also give you a lot of hands-on and first-hand experience in the fields. Next, we have stay up to date with the latest advances in the fields, and I think this is, once again, really important just to keep your curiosity and to really ensure that you have as much knowledge as possible about these fields. So, talking about the latest advances in environmental engineering, the first one that we have is increasing accessibility to clean water. And, you might think in America, we can get clean water easily, but this really isn't the case everywhere, especially in third world countries. It's really important that we are able to have clean water for everyone on the planet, not just where we live. So the next thing we have is plant-based meats. So basically, the meat industry has many, many detrimental effects to the environment, and making effective plant-based substitutes and getting people to actually eat them rather than real actual meat can greatly decrease these harmful effects and can really improve the quality of the environment. Next, we have electric vehicles. So increasing the efficiency and availability of electric vehicles while decreasing their costs can make them much more accessible to the regular person. And this can really slow climate change and decrease carbon emissions as well as decrease air pollution. So some of the latest advances in civil engineering involve self-healing concrete. So self-healing concrete would biologically produce limestone, which could fill or heal all the cracks in concrete structures, and this would really increase their lifespan and would really mean that we won't have to do as much maintenance for concrete structures, which can, save time. So next we have heated bridges, which would serve to melt the snow and ice that kind of collects on bridges. And the main application of this is it would really reduce car crashes, which are really important, which is a really important factor. Next we have photovoltaic glaze, which is essentially a colorless and transparent glass, which would just act like a more efficient and cheaper version of a solar panel. And the main application of this is it would be really similar to a solar panel, but you could implement it in many different places, and the implementation would be much more broad. If it could be scaled correctly, it would really increase the accessibility and availability of solar power and would do a lot of good for our environment. So yeah, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for listening and have a great day. Bye.